Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority has failed to meet its revenue target at the Kotoka International Airport. As of August this year, the airport only generated a little above 3 million Ghana cedis. Assistant Commissioner for the Customs at the Kotoka Airport, Teresa Che Asari, blamed the decline on low levels of imports through the airport. Sheila Tamaklu reports.
The Ghana Revenue Authority recently indicated it had missed its revenue target for the first 8 months of the year. The authority, as at August, fell short of its target by 1.8 billion Ghana cedis. Assistant Commissioner for Customs at the airport, Teresa Che Asari, said revenue targets at the airport has also fallen short of projected budgets.
As at August this year, we've been able to make 3.3 million Ghana cedis. As at August, we are still below our target. The factors that is affecting these things are the low importation. We can see that now a lot of goods, the rate of imports have really gone down. And then we have also the people are also using some of the border stations because they feel that if they come through the mainstream, it will be very difficult for them to get away with them. So they are now importing through Togo, and then they are using the border stations to get into the country. And I think that a lot of these goods are finding their ways through the borders now.
She further outlined measures to help bridge the revenue gap.
And so we are putting in issues of making sure that all the goods on UCL, UCL means uncleared cargo list, that the goods that have exceeded the period in the warehouse at the freight stations, we make sure that we get them auctioned. And then we also actually intensify our examinations to make sure that we get the goods that are excess goods that have not been accounted for on their declarations, that we get them to pay for it.
Sheila Tamaklu for Joy Business.
Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has admitted recent tax increases would indeed bring about some spike in prices of goods and services. This follows the decision by beverage firms to increase prices of their products as a result of changes to the VAT calculations, CD depreciation, and increase in the cost of production. He, however, tells Joy Business this challenge will be over soon. This is based on some measures that government has instituted to help deal with the situation. He also spoke about the proposed $50 billion century bond.
Of having such a facility really changes the dynamics of how we are going to relate. And the important questions that will be asked is, as you put such a facility together, does that mean that you are going to take your eyes off domestic revenue mobilization, which is really the core and foundation element? And that is going to be, emphasized to ensure that we have the resources to do that. But I think it's important that we do not get into the cycle of election year overspending by putting a structure in place which levels year to year how we spend money. I think really what, once the document is done, one will see the type of program we have for this facility and how that would generate the appropriate resources to support the facility. But this is going to be a well thought out, deliberate approach to ensure that everybody feels comfortable.
You said it's going to be a shelf offer. What does that mean?
A shelf offering is therefore having a target of X amount, 50 billion, and then in each year you take down the requisite amount that you require.
The Maiden Cocoa Freight Negotiation Conference opened in Accra on Wednesday. Negotiations will determine freight charges for the carriage of Ghana's cocoa beans and other cocoa products across the world on competitive rates. There's more in this report.
MD of the Cocoa Marketing Company, Mr. Joe Forson, says this maiden edition of the conference was born out of the objective to promote local participation aligned with the overall national interest of pursuing Ghana Beyond Aid. Joe Forson recounted some challenges faced and successes shocked in the previous cocoa season.
On production, Cocoa Board has been very definite in terms of its objectives and goals. Cocoa Board is pursuing a very aggressive agenda on hand pollination, where basically we've identified that because of the excessive spraying that has gone on for all these years, we've lost a lot of the insects that pollinate, so we want to artificially pollinate. We think it's one thing that will help us push the crop up. Cocoa Board is in the process of looking at irrigation, dealing with abandoned farms or diseased farms. So there's a clear agenda to basically increase production, even in the face of tumbling prices.
Chief Executive Officer of the Shippers Authority, Benanita Bismarck, also noted that negotiation will determine freight charges for the carriage of Ghana's cocoa beans and other cocoa products into Europe, the Americas and Asia on a competitive, transparent and cost-effective basis. She disclosed to Joy Business her outfit will ensure negotiations result in value for money for the cocoa sector.
We deliberate CMC, Shippers Authority, and then we come up with what we know will be a competitive freight for Ghana. It is our cocoa, and of course we don't want to pay too much for it. We don't also want to diddle the shipping lines out of their profits. So we ensure that we come to some balance to lift our cocoa. Last year we made a savings of about $10 million as a result of the negotiations that we held. So over the years we have stood to benefit, and we know that going forward we will do that as well.
This new arrangement involves the submission of proposals by the shipping lines, which form an integral part of the process of determining the appropriate freight rates based on negotiations with representatives of the shipping lines. An agreed rate for the season will be subsequently announced.
And just before we go, the Dutch ambassador to Ghana, Ron Stricker, has entreated government to leverage more on the private sector to improve funding for healthcare delivery. He made these comments at the launch of the Republic Medical Loan, a finance facility for private healthcare service providers. Karen Dudu reports.
The Republic Medical Loan is a partnership between the Republic Bank and the Medical Credits Fund, a Dutch credit scheme. The partnership provides private healthcare service providers an avenue to access loans as much as 1 million cedis at special lower interest rates. Private hospitals, clinics, laboratories and health training facilities are among institutions that can benefit from the facility. Managing Director of Republic Bank, Anthony Jordan, noted that the Republic Medical Loan will go a long way to improve access to funding healthcare in the country.
It is part of our vision to build successful communities wherever we operate. We don't just say it, we live it, and it coincides with that mantra that we have. When we were approached by the medical fund, we felt it coincided, like I said, with what we normally would want to do, so we grabbed the opportunity. In addition to which, of course, they are providing part of the funding, the medical fund, we providing part of the funding, so it brings the average cost of the borrowing down, so we are therefore able to lend at a better rate. So that would answer the second question you have.
Although for 2018, government allocated 9 billion cedis to the health ministry, it is still faced with numerous challenges which undermine healthcare delivery. Dutch ambassador to Ghana, Ron Stricker, noted that although Ghana aims at moving beyond aid, it should not overlook the funding opportunities within the private sector.
We see in Ghana that, of course, the medical needs are immense. And at the same time, there is a lack of money. And certainly there is a lack of public money, which is understandable. And of course, it is the government's intention to raise more money, Ghana Beyond Aid and so forth, but of course that will take some time. In the meantime, private capital is always there, is available, private investors, banks and so forth, but you have to interest them, of course, to invest in the sector, to put loans into the medical sector. You have to make it attractive.
Medical institutions can access loans in all 42 branches of the Republic Bank across the country. For Joy Business, Karen Dudu.
That's all in business tonight. Many thanks for watching. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a great evening.